Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order today. This is a regular city council meeting of City of Rialto, Tuesday, October 10th at 6:37 p.m. And this is also the meeting which is acting as a successor agency for the Redevelopment Agency, the Rialto Utility Authority, and the Rialto Housing Authority. Madam City Clerk, would you be so kind as to give us, to take roll call, please?
Mayor Robertson.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Caracellis.
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Present.
Councilmember Scott.
Present.
Councilmember Baca.
Present.
City Treasurer Correa.
Present.
City Attorney Eric Bell.
Present.
Assistant City Manager Aaron Brown.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Now I would ask if everybody would please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Rafael Trujillo will lead us, and then remain standing for Pastor Dr. Victor Nolan, Word in Action Christian Center for Invocation. Thank you.
Put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
Let's bow.
Good evening.
Father, Lord God, we thank you for this assembly. We ask, God, that you look upon them, guide them. We thank you for the mayor and everyone that makes up the cabinet. We just ask that you give them wisdom, understanding, and insight as they navigate through this night. Also, Lord, before we sit down, we lift up the countries that are at war. We just ask that you breathe upon the city and everyone that lives in our city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Madam Mayor, I may have one person real quick.
Yes.
If we could all remain standing, I'd like to have a moment of silence for many of the victims that have been killed in Israel with the war that is currently going on right now, and that we pray for an end to the war. Thank you.
Okay. Now, City Attorney, if you would be so kind as to report out closed session.
I'd be happy to do that, Mayor. There were 3 items on the council's agenda for closed session this evening. Those are listed in the agenda. The council engaged in all 3 of the items, gave direction to staff. There was no other reportable action on those items. Thank you.
All right. And that's it. So thank you. Okay. We're into presentation and proclamations. And I believe we have, it was posted earlier. This is proclamations to acknowledge Water Professional Appreciation Week, which is October 7th through the 15th of 2023. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, are there people here to receive the various recognitions for the school district, Veolia for Rialto Water Services, and West Valley Water District, and Fontana Water District. Are they here? Yes. Oh, okay. It just kind of looked. Okay, then I will come down. Water Services, you come stand, and as I present these, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, thank you, Hayes. Girl, how are you? Fine. Okay, this is for Water Professional Appreciation Week, and I'm just going to read briefly some parts of it, and it looks like they put them in the wrong order here. Starting off with the groups, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. That's Fontana Water. West Valley. Wouldn't it be the last one? Okay. All right. Okay, it says, whereas water is the lifeblood of California, and without safe and reliable water, no community and no sector of the economy can thrive or expand. And whereas now more than ever, the water industry is proud of the important role our essential workers play in making sure our communities have safe and reliable drinking water. I've jumped down a few here. Whereas water professionals at local public water and wastewater agencies work 24/7 to maintain and upgrade their systems and improve the safety and resiliency of local water supplies for their communities. And whereas thousands of essential water, wastewater, and recycled water industry of professionals in the state dedicate their careers to keeping drinking water, recycled water, and treated wastewater safe and reliable for the use of Californians. Now, therefore, I, Deborah Robertson, Mayor of the City of Rialto, along with the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 7th through the 15th as Water Professionals Appreciation Week and extend its sincere gratitude to the Rialto Water Service as operated by Veolia in appreciation to the water professionals who work 24/7, 365 days. Signed by myself and attested to by Mrs. McGee, our city clerk. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you. The groups? Ed, could you be so kind as to come and join? You want to read?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys, thank you. All right, I'll thank you too. Okay, the next group I would ask if could come up would be Fontana Water Company. Are they here as well? All right. All right. And pretty much, I think we have some of the same whereas, with the exception that I will say, again, whereas water professionals at local public water and wastewater agencies work 24 to maintain and upgrade their systems and improve the safety and resiliency of local water supplies for their communities. And whereas thousands of essential water, wastewater, and recycled water industry professionals in the state dedicate their careers to keeping drinking water, recycled water, and treated wastewater safe and reliable for use in California. Now, therefore, I, Deborah Robertson, Mayor of the City of Rialto, along with the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 7th and 15th as Water Professionals Appreciation Week and extend its sincere gratitude to Fontana Water Company, who also provides services to our residents, in appreciation to the water professional who work 24/7, 365. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. And I believe West Valley Water District, Representative Sherry. Okay, come on up. And the same, pretty much the same things have been repeated here for West Valley Water District. West Valley Water District also provides water to a number of our residents in our northern part of the city, and I believe even to the south to some degree. So again, we would like to extend its sincere gratitude to West Valley Water District in appreciation to the water professionals who work 24/7, 365 days, signed by myself and attested to by our city clerk. So you come on in, we can just take a picture. Thank you. All right, thank you, guys. And then the last, I believe, is for our school district. Is there someone here for behalf of Rialto Unified School District? All right, come on up. It's a little different words. Okay, thank you. And this says, whereas water is the lifeblood of California, and without safe and reliable water, no community and no sector of the economy from high-tech to manufacturing to agriculture can thrive or expand. And whereas, thanks to the Rialto Unified School District STEM Cares Hydroscience program offers a hands-on learning experience focused on career opportunities in water technology for students entering the 12th grade. And whereas the Rialto Unified School District STEM Care Hydroscience program introduces children to the benefit of a career in water and wastewater. And whereas the Rialto Unified School District STEM Care Hydroscience program recognizes that children are the future of the water and wastewater industry professionals and maintain that our water and wastewater system operates 24/7, 365. Now, therefore, I, Deborah Robertson, Mayor of the City of Rialto, along with the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 7th through the 15th, 2023 as Water Professional Appreciation Week and extend the sincere gratitude to Rialto Unified School District STEM Care Hydroscience program in appreciation to fostering the development of our future water and wastewater professionals. Signed by myself and the city clerk. So thank you. All right, thank you so much. That concludes the presentation. I had one more, but I don't know if we were able to reach Ms. Woods. I don't believe Ms. Woods is here. So if not, we will hold and present hers for the next council meeting in October. All right. So now we're on to oral communications. And Madam City Clerk, is there any oral communications?
Yes, we have Speaker Anna Gonzalez.
Okay. Ms. Gonzalez? Okay.
Sorry about that. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, staff, and community. Ana Gonzalez, 26-year resident here of the city of Rialto. I just wanted to come and do a public comment to comment on the general plan update. So it has been a wonderful experience so far with staff and the inclusion of the advisory committee. However, I haven't seen a lot of outreach to our actual community. It seems like they're in the dark of what's happening with the general plan update. I know we were promised more community meetings so community can be involved and not just hear from the advisory committee. We are aware that the comments for the general plan update are due October 17th for the elements that were released with the potential policies that are being considered. However, I ask that we extend that deadline for a little bit because a lot more communities finding out about it, and they need more time to review the documents. And we're planning to host some events to include communities' input, but we ask that the city extend the deadline so we give that the community that's being engaged in this process has more time to review and is able to comment on those elements that are more important to them. And so that's the reason why I'm here, to ask that of staff and council, to direct staff to please give us that extension. Also, inclusivity of our Spanish-speaking community is almost non-existent. And as you all know, more than 40% of our population here in the city of Rialto speaks Spanish only. And so we need more time to include community, and that's all I'm asking tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Was there anyone else?
I just received this.
Oral communication.
I'm not sure what the name is, but they want to speak on homeless. Whoever put this in. I'm not sure. Sorry. There's no name, so.
Oh, I apologize. I thought I put my name there.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good
Brenda
evening.
Parker. I wanted to speak because on the homelessness issue, because I've noticed that the encampment of our homelessness population is constantly growing, and it is growing rapidly, especially under the 210 freeway. And because of that growth, we also have a growth of debris and blight and everything that goes along with people just disposing of things in an inappropriate way. So I'm asking council and the city to get together and let's see what we can do to resolve this issue before it gets way out of hand, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. I do have to give our police department some kudos, because when we did call them on issues like people encamping at the bus stops and in the middle of our walkways, they responded expeditiously and asked the people to move on and did what they could to make sure that that particular issue at that time was resolved. However, because of this growing encampment, because of the growing trash that's happening in Rialto, and because of just the growing blight that's happening because of our homeless community, whatever we can do and whatever we can do to help our homeless sisters and brothers, then I think that we need to put some efforts towards that. But most importantly, we need to put efforts in keeping our city clean, because it is becoming trash. And so we need to make sure that we are very aware of that. If there's anything I as a community member can do and help in these efforts, I would be more than willing to do that. But I'm asking that you please pay attention to what is happening to our city, what is happening to our community, and what is happening to our residents, because they're going through our trash cans. And not only are they going through our trash cans, of course, you know, it's always the risk of identity theft, but as they're going through our trash cans, they're leaving the trash on the ground. They're taking the trash out of the trash cans, leaving them on the ground. So that's really a big issue. So please take a moment, maybe 10 moments, maybe 20 moments, and let's get our city clean again, because it's starting to look awful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that's everyone else's for tabs.
Okay. All right, now we will move into the agenda in its entirety. Is there anyone that needs to recuse themselves, or is anyone wanting to pull anything from the consent calendar for discussion?
Move approval.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Baca to move,
Second?
and I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Carrizales to move on the consent calendar. Any objections? Hearing none, then we will move from there into our tab items. Motion carries. First tab item will be tab number 1. It's a public hearing. And Mr. Casey, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. My name is Daniel Casey, Principal Planner, City of Rialto, and I'll be making the staff presentation on tab 1 tonight. Tab 1 is an application that's filed by AIREF, Rialto Commerce Center 2 LP. The file numbers for reference are Conditional Development Permit number 2022-0002, Precise Plan of Design number 2022-0001, and Environmental Assessment Review number 2022-0009. And tonight's tab item is in regard to an appeal of the Planning Commission's decision of the applications that I just stated. But first I'll go into some of the background of the project and give you some of the project details. So on this first slide, I'm showing you here the project site. You can see it indicated in the red boundary on the map. The project site consists of one parcel of land that's 13.83 acres in size. It's located at the northeast corner of Rialto Avenue and Lilac Avenue. The site has a general plan land use designation of light industrial and a zoning designation of light manufacturing, also known as M1. You can see on the aerial image some structures there. This site was formerly occupied by Orange County Lumber. It was a lumber yard. And then you can see immediately to the north, there was a rail line, or still is a rail line there, that serviced this facility. Further to the north, you have the Bud Bender Park and Rialto Cemetery. And to the east of the project site is the Rialto Police Station. And then to the south of the project site are several industrial buildings, and then also to the west of the site are also several industrial buildings. And then I'll just note that there are residential uses to the northwest of the project site. So what the applicant has proposed to do with this site is to redevelop it into a 299,780 square foot industrial warehouse building, and then install associated on-site and off-site improvements. This next slide shows you the site design that the applicant has proposed. The applicant intends to place the building on the north end of the site. Then an enclosed truck court, fully enclosed truck court, would be on the south side, facing Rialto Avenue. This was intentionally laid out this way to ensure that the truck court does not face Bud Bender Park, the cemetery, or those residential uses further to the north. That enclosed truck court will have 38 dock doors to service the trucks. Then there will be passenger vehicle parking lots on the north, east, and west sides of the building. The building is set back approximately 130 feet from those park and cemetery uses. So there is a substantial buffer between the building and those uses. As far as access to the site, that'll be provided with 4 new driveways that I've indicated there with the red arrows on the map. There will be 3 driveways on Lilac Avenue. The northerly driveway will be 32 foot in width. That's for passenger vehicles and emergency vehicles only. The middle driveway will also have a 32-foot width, same thing, passenger vehicles and emergency vehicles only. Then the southerly driveway on Lilac Avenue will provide access for both trucks and passenger vehicles. However, there is a condition of approval that was attached to the conditional development permit that prohibits trucks from entering or exiting the site north on Lilac. So all the trucks need to use Rialto, make a quick left on Lilac, and then into the facility. Nothing north of the site through the sensitive residential park areas. And then one last driveway on Rialto Avenue on the very east end of the site, a 50-foot wide driveway that will also provide access for trucks and passenger vehicles. Next slide, just showing you a rendering of the building that's proposed. This is looking, if we were at the intersection of Rialto and Lilac, looking northeast towards the building. You can see on the elevations here that there's significant wall plane relief with various pop-outs, concrete pillars, as well as height variations. The building height ranges from 41.5 feet up to 49 feet, which the M1 zone that this building is proposed in has a maximum height allowance of 75 feet. The exterior of this building will be of concrete tilt-up walls. It'll have a paint palette of 6 colors, mostly various gray tones with some accents. The generous amounts of glazing on all 4 sides of the building. Panel reveals, metal accents, and then those concrete pillars that I mentioned earlier will also be on all 4 sides of the building. Next slide showing you the landscape plan. Orientation here is a little different. So the right side of the exhibit is north. That's where the park and cemetery would be. The applicant's proposed landscape coverage is 11.3%, which exceeds the 10% minimum requirement. That landscaping mostly comes in the form of a proposed 26-foot landscape setback along the entire frontage of Rialto Avenue, and then also a 16-foot landscape setback along the entire frontage of Lilac Avenue. The applicant will plant a variety of shrubs, ground cover, and trees throughout all the planters on site, and also in the parkways along Rialto Avenue and Lilac Avenue. One key feature of this project is that the site will no longer need the rail service that it currently has. And so with this, that rail service will be eliminated. And what that will allow is currently the Pacific Electric Trail that extends from, I believe, Claremont all the way over here to Rialto, currently dead ends at Cactus Avenue, will now be able to continue eastward as a result of the redevelopment of this site. With this project, the applicant has proposed a voluntary contribution of over $1.6 million towards the construction of the trail that is immediately adjacent to the northern boundary of their site. I've indicated it on this map here in that red boundary. Just moving on to some of the analyses that were prepared for this project. There was a traffic analysis prepared by Urban Crossroads. The trip generation looked at the existing vehicle trips from the lumber yard, and then also what this warehouse would generate. It is expected that the warehouse would generate 518 daily vehicle trips. Of those, 208 are estimated at worst case to be truck trips, and then 310 would be passenger car trips. This would result in an increase of 204 daily car trips and 177 daily truck trips compared to the previous lumberyard use. The study did analyze 17 intersections in the city and also determined a fair share payment of a little over $275,000 to go towards improvements to various intersections in the city. Next, along with that traffic analysis, the routing of the trucks was also analyzed and examined by staff and the applicant. The Planning Commission ultimately placed a condition of approval on the project that would require the trucks to enter and exit the site via Rialto Avenue, Lilac, but head west on Rialto Avenue, and then when they get to the intersection of Cactus, to use Cactus south towards Merrill, and then take Merrill west to Cedar, which is the nearest truck route. The reason for doing this is that way the trucks will avoid passing by several schools that exist on Rialto Avenue between Cactus and Cedar Avenue. So this is a condition of approval that the applicant agreed to and was placed on the project. Furthermore, in terms of California Environmental Quality Act, there was an initial study that was prepared for the project by TMB Planning. The initial study determined that the project will have a less than significant impact on the environment with the incorporation of mitigation. As a result, a mitigated negative declaration was prepared. That initial study, mitigated negative declaration, was circulated for a 30-day public comment period that ran from May 15th, 2023 to June 13th, 2023. 5 comment letters were received during that period. 4 were opposition letters, one of which was the same letter that was signed by a group of 31 Rialto residents. And then there was also 1 general comment letter that was provided by South Coast Air Quality Management District. The project was ultimately presented to the Planning Commission on July 26, 2023. After consideration, the Planning Commission voted 3-2 with 2 vacancies to approve the project. Subsequently, on August 10, 15 days after the Planning Commission approval, an appeal was filed by Ms. Ana Gonzalez, Executive Director of the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice, also known as CCAEJ. The appellant's appeal seeks to have the City Council overturn the Planning Commission's approval of the project. In the appeal form, which is attached to your agenda report, the appellant, cited various concerns with the project's land use compatibility, zoning compliance, alternative uses, the advertisement of the mitigated negative declaration, comments from an Economic Development Committee meeting, the public noticing, cumulative impacts of the project, sustainable design features, and community benefits. Staff has had a chance to review the appeal, and as is documented in the staff report before you tonight, and also in the project's initial study that was prepared for the project is consistent, contrary to the assertions made by the appellant. The project is consistent with the underlying M1 zoning designation. It does meet the development standards required by the Rialto Municipal Code. The design that was approved by the Planning Commission and is before the City Council tonight incorporates a greater buffer than is required by the Municipal Code to further separate the building from those sensitive uses. The layout of the building was done intentionally to place all the operations in a direction away from any of those sensitive uses to the north. The MND was also advertised, and the public hearing notice were also advertised in compliance with city policy and state law. They were also, public hearing notice for the Planning Commission and the City Council did include disclosures in Spanish language. And that lastly, the initial study determined that the project will not have a significant impact on the environment and did analyze the cumulative impacts. So in summary, the project ultimately that was approved by the Planning Commission, again, it is consistent with the M1 zone, Chapter 18-112 of the Rialto Municipal Code, and then also those existing industrial uses that are to the south and west of the site. As I mentioned, the site has been designed specifically to take into account those sensitive uses. Extensive landscaping will also be planted around the building to further reduce noise and aesthetic impacts. This project will ultimately serve to redevelop and improve an existing industrial site with the highest and best use that is permitted in the M1 zone. And then public hearing notices for this appeal hearing tonight were mailed to all property owners within 1,000 feet of the project site, and it was also, a notice was also sent for publication to the San Bernardino Sun newspaper. And with that, the staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution before you tonight, denying the appeal and upholding the Planning Commission's decision to approve the project. That concludes the staff presentation. The project applicant would like to make a presentation for the council as well, and the appellant would also like to speak on the project tonight as well.
Okay. So why don't we start with the project applicant
Okay.
and his presentation.
Thank you, Daniel. Yep.
Thank you, Daniel. Good evening, Mayor Robertson, council members. Thank you for hearing this matter this evening. I'm Peter Schaefer with Aries Industrial Management. We're the owners and developers of the subject property. We agree with the staff report and its conclusions, and we ask you to deny the appeal tonight. Aries develops Class A industrial buildings that we hold and manage internally for the long term. This model of long-term ownership requires that we design buildings to the highest standards to attract first-class tenants today and in the future. As mentioned, the site has a long history of industrial use as a lumberyard dating back about 70 years. Operations included outdoor woodworking shop, outdoor storage, shipping via large trucks, and diesel-powered trains. There's a forklift repair station, underground diesel fuel storage tanks. The office building contained asbestos-containing materials. There was no stormwater management system. There were approximately 30 employees, where most earned about $15 an hour. The lumberyard was the last customer served on the rail line. When we purchased the property in November of 2021, we terminated all agreements with the railroad, which will allow the development of the Pacific Electric Trail. The proposed development features a large truck court, as mentioned, screened from public view, with 38 dock doors and notably 59 on-site trailer parking stalls. There are 190 linear feet of on-site truck queuing at the Lilac entrance and 240 linear feet of on-site truck queuing at the Rialto Avenue entrance. The abundance of parking and on-site queuing is all provided for operational efficiency for the tenant, but also to keep trucks off of city streets. We consulted with the Rialto Police Department to ensure they were satisfied with the design. We've addressed all of their safety concerns. The building is applying for LEED Silver certification by the U.S. Green Building Council for efficiency standards. The low-impact development stormwater management system will collect stormwater, treat it, and filter it back into the ground with massive underground infiltration chambers. The project features significant benefits, including a modern facility to remove blight and strengthen the economy, local jobs so residents don't have to commute to Ontario, Orange County, and LA, and about $6.8 million in benefits, $233,000 of school fees for the Rialto Unified School District, almost $3 million in public right-of-way improvements, including sidewalks, landscaping, street paving, and the undergrounding of overhead power lines on Lilac and Rialto Avenue. Approximately $1.7 million in development impact fees, which includes approximately $839,000 for transportation impacts. Daniel mentioned an additional $276,000 in fair share contributions for specific transportation upgrades, and a $1.6 million voluntary contribution to the city for public facility, transportation infrastructure, and public safety improvements. The development will be built substantially with high-skilled union labor, ensuring good wages and local sourcing, including Laborers International, the carpenters, electricians, operators, plumbers, and pipe fitters. Again, we appreciate your consideration this evening. We ask you to deny the appeal. At this time, I can answer any questions you may have. Our CEQA consultants are also here to address any questions. And I'd like to reserve any remaining time I may have to respond to comments later in the evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't think we have any questions now. I would ask that we let the appellant respond or present. Yes.
All right, good evening. Thank you again for this opportunity. So yes, I am the one that filed the appeal for this project. My home is actually about 150 feet away from this project. I'm directly across the street from Bud Bender Park, which is about 68 feet away from the project as well. And as you have heard me so many times, I am very worried about the air quality of our community, the noise pollution and light pollution that would be detrimental to this community. But more specifically, as I was looking at the zoning codes of the city and the state and just the consistency of the zoning that's there right now as M1, I triple checked that there were no logistics type uses for this type of zoning. Although it's a light manufacturing zone, when I read the project or the proposed project scope of work, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a manufacturing facility. And so then that right there raised a red flag. In my appeal letter, I literally copied and pasted the uses that are permitted for M1 from the city's website codes and what I found on the zoning for this type of land. Also, a big concern, the 25-foot height limit that was a part of this type of zone usage was also a concern. As I understand, this project would be over 25 feet height. And then most importantly, the transparency about the way this project was brought to the community. I did a survey of the 3 blocks, so it was 2nd Street and then all the blocks around the cul-de-sacs and everything. Most of that community, about 75% of them speak Spanish. And when I asked them if they understood when they received the notice for the MND, they said they didn't know what that meant or what it said or how to go about it. So I took the time to talk to my neighbors, and yes, I am the one that helped each and every one of them write that opposition letter after explaining to them what this project was about, and clearly they were not in favor of this type of development to come into our community. They would prefer a grocery store or more housing. And I know Councilmember Scott, I spoke to you about this project and shared my concerns with you. And I know I heard a lot about, the zoning that's already zoned industrial, and I get it. However, going back to the zone, the codes that are there, I still don't see any logistics or storage allowance for this type of zoning. And then also, after speaking to a lot of the community members, they wanted to be involved and learn about what the MND versus the CEQA document meant. But again, there was no opportunity for them, or, just the system doesn't work for our community. And it's really hard to get all these families to understand what these documents mean and really issue intentional letters explaining what they want. There was 2 studies that were done that were given in your packet tonight, and even with the Planning Commission, of a potential of a little commercial center or housing, and those projects look good to the community. Also, the Cal Enviro screen, we're already in the red, almost 98 percentile of pollution. I think that this needs an EIR to really address all the impacts, especially noise pollution, truck routes. And then again, for this hearing, no notices in Spanish were sent, all in English. And again, our community was left out in participating. And so we just got to do better as a city. And I just completely oppose this project because it will be a detrimental impact to the community. We already have trucks idling in front of the park, and there's no project there. So you can imagine the harm that it's going to bring to our community and our roads. And I know I heard comments at the Planning Commission that there were some concerns from the police department. I don't know if they can speak on this, that it would interfere with their privacy and their operations. So that's about it. Hopefully you got to read the letter.
All right. All right, thank you. Okay. Madam City Clerk, was there any others who wanted to speak?
Yes, you have all these people.
Okay, how many? So we can determine.
I need to, Thomas and Gonzalez, you put tab 7. We do not have a tab 7. Are you trying to say tab 1? Tab 1. Not tab 7. Because so this is meant for tab 1? Yes. Okay.
Well, she's letting us know, Daniel. She's letting us know how many we have, so we can determine.
Thirteen.
13?
14, Anna put in a comment for tab 1 as well, so you count 14 with her.
Oh, okay. I thought that was her comments right then.
Okay, then you have 13.
Okay, 13. Okay. Why don't you, okay. Would you begin to call the first one, whoever they are, and I would ask people if you're going to basically repeat pretty much the same thing that said it, if you could just really abbreviate your comments if you don't have otherwise. Otherwise, you have 5 minutes, but if with 13, this would take almost a total of an hour or more if everybody takes up 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask if you could, excuse me? I'm sorry. Oh, what? Give them 2 minutes? Well, I think they're here, and I'm just asking that people, if you've heard your comment and the feelings are already expressed, that you probably decide if you need to repeat it. But I will go with 5 minutes, and I'll see how people would choose to be respectful of the time. Okay?
Jessica Santos.
Madam City Clerk, could you call the second one if they're in the room, and we'll wait for the other one to come in behind them?
Raphael Lego.
Come on up.
JB.
Yes,
Yeah,
come on up.
she's
We'll catch the
Raphael.
other one when they.
All right, good evening. My name is Rafael Legido. I'm a member of the Southwest Mountain States Regional Council of Carpenters, Local 909. Roughly, we have over 5,900 members that live in San Bernardino County. Right around 700 live in the city of Rialto. I'd like to say on their behalf that the city of Rialto, it's located in proximity to the ports, which creates a great opportunity for this type of development. This type of warehouse creates jobs. It's going to improve the land, economic growth. And it's really important that we take advantage of those opportunities. More importantly, it's not just growth, but it's responsible growth This developer has made a solid commitment to use a skilled and trained workforce, which means the project's going to be built efficiently, safely, and good quality, which is very important for the city. It's going to create really good jobs, careers for new hire apprentices, careers for some people that live in the city that might need a second or a third chance to earn a livable wage so that they can provide for their families with dignity, which goes a long ways towards benefiting the community. So on behalf of myself and our members, I ask that you deny the appeal and vote in favor of the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, JB.
Next speaker, is there JD?
Brenda Parker.
Good evening, everyone. I am here in support of this, of the appeal. Why? Because when is enough enough, our council members? When is enough enough? Yes, that area was zoned industrial. But just as you were here during our COVID, changing residential to industrial, should have spent a little time changing industrial to residential, or whatever zoning that was needed in order to expand our police department, because that area is right behind our police department. And we're talking about changing our police department, growing our police department, improving our police department. This was a grand opportunity to do that. That area has no freeway access. The roads are not built for large vehicles, and there's no need for a warehouse to be in the middle of a residential community. No occupant warehouse. Everyone talks of the jobs, and I understand my sisters and brothers that's sitting behind me need these jobs, and these are local jobs, but we have to also understand that these jobs are temporary. We're not talking about permanent jobs. They're gonna come in, they're gonna build a warehouse, they're gonna leave. Well, guess what? They could have come in, they could have expanded our police department, they could have left. Same situation, better opportunity, better growth for our city. It is a non-occupant warehouse. We don't know what's going in that warehouse. We don't know what the warehouse is being used for, and we don't know who's going to be employed. The developer has not guaranteed the city that at least 30% minimal of the workforce will come from the city of Rialto. How dare you? I'm tired of these warehouses and these developers coming in and dumping their trash in our city, and you all should be too. When is enough enough? Developers want to give you this one-time CB. Wow, one time. So when that one-time CB runs out, then who's left with the bill? The citizens of Rialto. That doesn't sound very community benefited to me, not at all. Also, I just have a question. Is the council trying to change Rialto into a city of industry? Because if you're doing that, then maybe it's a great opportunity for you to let the citizens know that. And then that way we maybe can govern ourselves accordingly. Because it's quite apparent that you're not listening to the community and you're not listening to the citizens. That is really horrible. Job creation here is not permanent. Job creation is just quick. We're getting in, we're building, we're getting out. The jobs that these union members speak of are temporary. They are not permanent. So what could have been the positive of this? If we would have taken the opportunity to extend our police department so that they would have a safe place to store their vehicles, so that they could have maybe created a training area for themselves. How about a safer parking facility for the patrons that has to come to the police department and conduct business there, instead of us parking across the street and walking across that street, which also puts us at more jeopardy and danger just to go to our police department that we proudly pay for, that we proudly fought for, so that we can continue to get the services that they are rendering to us. How about if we would have just made an indoor community building for the park that's right across your street? So you have the shelters that's there, but they're on the outside. But what if we would have built areas there? How about building areas there where the parents could have taken the parties on the inside so that it could have been used at all times? That is what we pay taxes for, right? So that we can use the facilities that's in our community. It would have been beneficial for our city council, once again, when they were changing residential to industrial, such as the incident that happened with the airport department, and then we get nasty developers that come in here and speak nasty to our council, and then we still allow them to build their trash in our city. We don't need their trash. We are a beautiful city and we are a beautiful people. What we do need is our police department. So I'm here to advocate, if we're gonna build a better police department, then darn it, do just that. Use that area for that. Stop changing everything to industrial that is not beneficial to our community. The zoning would have been better served if whatever zone that we needed for our police department and for our community. So I highly support the support that this warehouse is not built in the middle of this community, because what happens is when those trucks come in and they tear up our road, they one time $1 million, you guys are going to spend that in a matter of 5 minutes in a council meeting. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Victor Torres.
Go to the next.
Keith Rodriguez.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I am a 30-year resident of Rialto. I am also leading the water classes in Rialto Unified School District. I teach about sustainability. I've gone over this project with my class. Students strongly feel that this project will jeopardize our community. 2 of my students were here. They left home though. But council, speaking with the students at Myler High School, it's evident that this isn't in favor of what they want. They like their park. They don't want to be breathing in pollution. They don't want to be breathing in any of the pollutants wafting over into the cemetery or the skate park or the spots that they frequent. I won't take up much more of your time. I strongly agree with the previous statements opposing this project, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So who was that? That was Victor. Okay. So Keith Rodriguez. Paul. I'm not sure how you wrote your last name. We have a Paul here. Thomas Ruiz.
Come on up, please.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Thomas Ruiz, representative with the Laborers International Union, Local 783. We're here tonight on behalf of my members, but more importantly, those that live in the city of Rialto that would like to have the opportunity to work and play here in the city of Rialto. I want to thank my members for being here, for volunteering their time, especially coming out to these meetings that can go on for long periods of time. And they're all volunteers, but they're here because they want to make sure that they have an opportunity to go to work. And so thank you. This project is properly cited in the correct zoning. The Planning Commission identified the proper truck routes for this project. And we believe you should consider denying the appeal. We are happy to partner with Aries Industrial on this project. They have made a commitment to use union workers on their project, creating local benefits not only to the workforce, but as also contributing to the Pacific Electric Trail and all the local infrastructure that we would hope to have a hand in constructing as well. For the comments of temporary work, tell you guys all the time, that comment is disrespectful, especially to our members that build for a living. We build America with our hands day in and night. Those freeways, those roads, those bridges just don't happen. They just don't magically happen. They have a start date, they have an end date, but there's someone that has to build them. And if we can't support local union labor by providing jobs to them, we won't have the people to build the infrastructure of tomorrow. So yeah, the jobs may be temporary for that project site, but for my members, it's a career. For my members, it's the next job that puts food on the table. So I respectfully request that we hold those comments to a minimum in the future. Appreciate your time, appreciate your leadership. Hopefully you consider denying the appeal. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Jose Garcia. And Daniel, could you ask if they're out there to sign up to speak, they can just come on in, yes. And this is who?
Sorry. Good evening, committee.
Excuse me, could you, excuse me,
Yeah.
could you give us your name
Oh,
before, only because we've been calling. We
my
don't-
name is Jose.
Jose.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Jose, and I live at 509 West 2nd Street. Since I was 12 years old, I started experiencing breathing problems, went to the hospital many times for bronchitis, and was hospitalized with COVID during the pandemic. My doctor told my mom that my lung capacity was harmed because of the air we breathe in our community. I urge you tonight to put my health and other kids' health first, to not go through what I have gone through. Please deny this project and look for other alternatives. Don't put a warehouse next to a park and my home. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Claudia?
Hola, muy buenas noches, otra vez yo. Mi nombre es Claudia Cuevas. Muy buenas noches. Vengo nuevamente muy preocupada por la comunidad.
I come worried about my community.
Nuestra ciudad de Rialto y el tráfico cada día es más insoportable.
Our town, the city of Rialto, has grown every day more insupportable with the traffic.
Aprobaron la fábrica de la Jerry Eves la semana pasada,
You guys approved the fabrication of Jerry Eves last week,
donde aprobaron que entraran a nuestra ciudad 1,180 camiones y carros
where you approved 1,800 trucks and cars coming into our town,
Sus salidas principales serían Ayala y Riverside,
with their exits primarily being Ayala and Riverside.
las salidas al freeway. Esta fábrica estaría utilizando las mismas salidas.
Those exits were primarily freeway exits. This manufacturer would also be using the same exit.
Se están enfocando nada más en la salida a la Lilac, algo así, pero no a la salida del freeway, algo así. Nada más están enfocando a la calle Lilac, pero no hacia las salidas del freeway, que viene siendo Riverside y Ayala nuevamente. La Cedar se convierte pasando la baseline en Ayala. Que solo se vienen enfocando en esta fábrica en la salida de la Lilac,
They are focusing on the lilac entrance of this project,
sin tomar en cuenta que las subidas hacia el freeway vienen siendo la Cedar y la Riverside.
without taking to a fact that the entrances to the freeway are Cedar and
Riverside.
Riverside.
Pasando la baseline, se convierte nuevamente en la Ayala.
Passing baseline, it is now once again the yard.
Que ya tuviéramos la aglomeración de 1,180 camiones y carros que acaban de pasar la semana pasada con la fábrica pasada. Que sería nuevamente
That it would be again
más tráfico
more traffic
por la fábrica que acaban de aprobar la semana pasada
with the construction that was approved last week,
con 1,180 carros y camiones.
with 1,800 trucks and cars.
Entonces, la comunidad estarían utilizando las mismas salidas.
So the community will be using the same exits.
Nuestra calle principal de la ciudad es la calle La Riverside,
Our main city street is Riverside,
donde estarían ahora por nuestra calle caminando camiones a todas horas.
where now on our street, trucks will be driving at all hours.
¿Qué pasará con nuestros eventos navideños?
What would happen to our Christmas events?
Cuando cierran la calle y decoran nuestra calle principal de la Riverside cuando pasen tantos camiones.
What's going to happen during Christmas events when we decorate and close the street?
Por
to Riverside
favor,
Avenue?
queremos que tomen en cuenta a futuro lo que puede suceder con nuestra ciudad, que es muy pequeña.
Please take into account what can happen in the future with our city that is very small.
Si estamos aquí es por algo mejor para nuestra ciudad, no estamos para pelear en contra de nadie.
We are here to approve what is beneficial to our community, not to fight.
porque todos aquí vivimos.
because we all live here.
Gracias, buenas noches.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Did we find JB?
No, Luis is the last one.
Okay, he can come in.
Good evening, City Council, members of our community. My name is Luis Carretero Cuevas, and I stand before you today not just as a concerned citizen, but as a passionate advocate for our city of Rialto. I'm here to address a crucial matter that threatens the very essence of our community, the proposal to build this warehouse across from Budbender Park. Our park is not just a patch of grass and trees. It's a sanctuary that back in 1965, because of Bud and his dedication to our city's youth, this park is where families now gather, children play, and friendships are fostered. It's where we find solace and peace of mind amidst the annoying hustle and bustle of modern life. Parks represent the heart and soul of neighborhoods, and its significance cannot be understated. Opposing this warehouse is not merely a matter of sentimentality, it's a necessity rooted in reason and practicality. First and foremost, the environmental impact that we've all discussed tonight cannot be ignored. A warehouse means increased traffic, noise, and pollution, factors that are detrimental to the health and well-being of our community, especially those of children and seniors. Secondly, the safety of our neighborhood is at stake. More traffic means higher risks of accidents and putting those same families in danger. Moreover, warehouses often involve heavy-duty vehicles, which have already strained our local infrastructure and jeopardized the structural integrity of our roads, as we've seen what it has done to Pepper Avenue. Economically, too, this decision could backfire. Studies have shown that green spaces and parks enhance property values. So by preserving Budbender Park, we're safeguarding an investment for our residents. A warehouse, on the other hand, might deter potential home buyers and businesses, leading to a decline in property values and subsequently local revenue. Furthermore, the social essence of our community is at risk. Parks are not just places to play. They are where we build a sense of the community that we strive for. By preserving our park, we are fostering social cohesion, mental well-being, and a shared sense of belonging here in Rialto. A warehouse, however, would further disrupt that delicate balance, leading to an even bigger decline in our already decreasing community spirit and unity. In conclusion, while progress is essential, it should not come at the cost of our community's core values and well-being. And I urge you, members of City Council, to really consider the long-term implications of this decision. So let's prioritize the health, safety, and happiness of our Rialto residents. Let us preserve our park, Budbender Park, for generations to come. Because together we can find a solution. And don't make this mistake that will overall do more harm than good. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Rabbi Do walk in.
How's it going, City Council? Pleasure to be here. I just drove 2 hours to be here. I don't live in the city of Rialto, but my family and I, we've been property owners since 1988 in the city of Rialto. We were one of the pioneering first industrial warehouses on North Locust Avenue, which is now located above the 210 freeway. I was 1 year old when my father bought that property. Since then, that property, we've had thousands of employees come through that building. Many of them live in the city of Rialto. Many of them end up moving closer to where they work in the city of Rialto. This is what's really important. I think this is really important for the city of Rialto, the City Council, to not lose sight of this. For 35 years, we've met with many different members who have come and gone, and they've always said they have a vision for the city. They've been soliciting this type of investment. And now, when the economy's at the worst state it's been in a long time, we're pushing away the people who want to come and invest into the city and make the city better. You obviously heard some of the people who are against the development of the site, but I think you lose the grand vision of what progress is all about. There will be temporary jobs, many temporary jobs of, construction workers, electricians, and, so many different people like the Carpenter Union who was here who need those jobs. But once that's developed, there will also be many permanent jobs of people working inside of this warehouse. These people tend to start to come from further outside the city. Once they feel confident with their position, as they continue to grow into those companies, they want to move closer to where they work. So I argue that it's probably going to reduce some amount of traffic of people leaving the city of Rialto. More people will start to come here, live closer to where they work, and then, you know, they start to make more money, the property values of the houses start to go up, and this is what you call progress. It's really important that we don't lose sight of this, because if you push all of the investors and developers out, what are you going to be left with? What are you going to do in these vacant plots of land that are surrounded by other industrial facilities? You're not going to do anything else there. No one's going to want to buy it. Everyone's going to be scared and hesitant about going to the City Planning Commission and seeing, is my property going to get through all the money that I spent to go through entitlements and talk to the City Planning Commission? Is it just a waste of time? They'll just go further east. They'll go somewhere else. You know, since then, I've lived in the city of Rancho Cucamonga. I have a business in Rancho Cucamonga, and if you look at how that city is developed, how the city of Ontario is developed, how Eastvale is developed, I mean, we're talking about property values for residential now over $1 million. This is what the city of Rialto should look at. You know, how do we make Class A facilities? How do we bring the facade to be, you know, a great looking place? How do we start to mix in more of the community that wants to build other things around it when the demand is there? That could be the grocery stores, the parks, the schools, better police stations, but it first starts with investment. And, you know, we talk about the tax revenue that comes into the city because of this. We really need to look at what we're talking about here. We are going into a recession. We're pushing away investment, and we really should be welcoming this. You know, as the city starts to progress and get better and safer, that also incentivizes people to want to move closer to where they feel like they can call it a safe space, a home, and this is really important. I think the City Planning Commission and the City Council should be encouraging this type of investment and should be trying to streamline this investment, not deterring it. So I thank you for your time. I appreciate your consideration, and I hope we make the best decision for the City of Rialto. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Is
That's
that it?
because all the other names,
They didn't come.
no.
Okay.
JB, no JB, no Paul. Okay, you,
Well,
okay.
come on. It's all right.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. My name's Jose Garcia. I'm a proud member of LAUNA, the Laborers International Union of North America, for the past 34 years. You can see what the community has here ready to build. We build in our own cities. We don't only build warehouses, we build schools, we build police stations, we build everything. We bring it to this city and we bring it proudly. We wear it on our backs. LAUNA builds America. That's what we put on our backs. I don't know if I wore the right one today, but that's what we stand for. A lot of people call them temporary jobs. I haven't been in 34 years on a permanent job that lasted 34 years to this day. So these are quality jobs. We have a quality developer helping move the economy forward. We all have aspirations of better things here in the city. I heard of lots of improvement coming in here, traffic improvement, infrastructure improvement. He's taking an ugly site and building a beautiful building on it. It's going to create hundreds of jobs. I have 2 children that are going in between school and stuff, and they look for these kind of jobs. So when people downgrade any kind of job right now, it's the wrong thing to do. It increases the whole economy throughout the city, and we really need to look at what we're doing. Planning Commission moved it forward. Staff recommendation is to move this project forward. I ask that you deny the project and please move the project forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is that it?
I think so.
Okay.
What's his
Did
name?
we,
Okay.
what's the name?
Jesse?
Okay, go ahead,
Swazo.
Jesse.
Oh, that's a J, not an S? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name
Thank
is
you.
Jesse Swazo. I'm at a local 909, the Carpenters Union, and I'm gonna make this short. Let's pass this project and let's take a little walk on that trail. It looks pretty nice to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate it.
think that's everything.
Does that conclude those who either put a request in to speak, or is there anyone else who is wanting to speak before we move to close the public hearing? If not, I would.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Trujillo, seconded by Councilmember Scott. Any objections? Hearing none, the public hearing portion of comments is closed. And so now,
I'm sorry for interrupting. I would like to talk and say something about it. I turned in my paper and nobody showed it.
I don't know who.
excuse me, what was your name?
Maria Velasquez.
Who?
Maria Vasquez?
Don't have a Maria, but, okay.
Did you, you said you filled out one?
Yes, I made it out.
I don't have it.
Any, oh, it was out there. Okay.
Are you gonna, it's up to?
Yes, yes, come on. We had already taken the vote in our council. Do I need to take any other action to undo?
Well, you can allow her to speak. Since we
Okay,
had everything.
thank you. Yeah, okay, I don't know what happened in terms of the paper, but it didn't make it in here until just now.
Do we have someone in Spanish?
Yes, he's right there.
Gracias.
Okay.
Mi nombre es María Velázquez. Soy residente de aquí de Rialto por 33 años.
I'm a resident of Rialto for 33 years.
Y estoy observando allá afuera también, al igual que mis compañeros que están afuera.
I am observing what is happening outside, just like my fellow friends who are observing what's happening outside.
Y ahorita acabo de ver que acaba de hablar una persona de color anaranjado de los trabajadores.
And I just saw someone in an orange-colored shirt speak,
Y automáticamente todos los trabajadores se levantaron.
and automatically all the workers rose.
Me concierne porque cuando nosotros que somos la comunidad que sí vivimos en Rialto, ¿por qué no está nuestra gente también aquí? ¿Por qué estamos allá afuera parados?
It concerns me that our Rialto residents are waiting outside, unlike the workers who are here.
Y escuché al chico que habló, al señor que habló, que está trayendo tráfico, que está trayendo beneficios para la comunidad.
And I heard the young man speak about the traffic that will be brought and the community benefits that will be brought.
Los que estamos allá afuera somos de aquí de Rialto.
The ones outside are from Rialto.
Y nosotros necesitamos el trabajo de aquí de Rialto. La gente que está aquí trabajando, los que estamos viviendo aquí por muchos años, necesitamos esos trabajos, pero no trabajos de afuera que vienen de fuera.
We need the jobs. Those that are waiting outside need the jobs.
Y están construyendo fábricas como seguimos con otros pasados temas. Y la cosa es que están quedando los edificios vacíos, como lo hemos hablado. Están quedando los edificios vacíos. Están construyendo de más.
We are constructing in excess of buildings. The buildings are staying empty.
Y si están construyendo lo que son las fábricas, lo que están los edificios que están construyendo, todo el trabajo que están trayendo es de otros países, no es de aquí adentro, no se refiere aquí adentro a lo que es el país de Estados Unidos.
These buildings that are being built are bringing jobs or work from other countries. They are not bringing work from here.
Estamos trayendo fábricas y nuestras calles nuevamente siguen mal. Acabo de hablar en una reunión pasada de la Pepper.
These warehouses are being built and our roads are being damaged, just like the construction project on Pepper.
¿Por qué Rialto, la ciudad de Rialto, no invierte en esas mejorías de sus calles? Necesitamos prácticamente la mejoría de las calles de la ciudad.
Why doesn't Rialto invest in these improvement projects? Rialto needs to invest in these projects.
Honestamente, yo les doy las gracias por escucharme.
Honestly, I say thank you for listening to me.
Y con todo respeto, pero sí me gustaría que enfocaran más a la comunidad.
And with all respect, I ask that you focus more on the community.
Y me gustaría saber si esta gente que está aquí de construcción también son de Rialto.
And I would like to know if these construction workers are also from Rialto.
Ahorita que yo llené mi aplicación, está la dirección de Rialto, donde yo resido 33 años. ¿De dónde viene toda esta gente que está viniendo a agarrar beneficios y no son de aquí?
Right now, while I filled out my application, I checked to see which workers are from Rialto, and me, a resident of 33 years, from Rialto speaking.
Nuevamente los invito a que hagan saber a la comunidad qué está pasando aquí. No solamente nos encerremos los que estamos aquí todo el tiempo, dejar saber a la comunidad qué está pasando en su comunidad, qué necesita la comunidad.
Newly, I ask that these projects be considered with the community, and I ask that you guys focus on the community.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, we had already closed our public hearing, so now it's council. What is your pleasure? Do you have some comments or questions for the for staff or for the applicant or the appellant? Councilmember Scott?
I have a couple of questions. My first question to you, Mr. Casey, is there was some conversation tonight about the trucks coming down Riverside Avenue to this project. However, if I'm correct, Riverside Avenue is not a truck route. Therefore, trucks would not be allowed to either come or leave towards Riverside Avenue. Is that not correct?
You are correct.
And what is the path of travel for the trucks?
The trucks will not use Riverside. They will head west to Cedar Avenue.
Okay, and the current zoning of the property when the lumberyard was there is M1?
Yeah, correct.
And does the proposed use comply or come with under M1 zoning?
That's correct. I would just like to add some detail to that for the appellant, and it was documented in the staff report. The warehouse uses, such as the project, are regulated under Chapter 18.112 of the Rialto Municipal Code, and that chapter specifically states that warehouse uses are allowed in the M1 zone subject to a conditional development permit, which was approved by the Planning Commission.
Okay, and there was a train, I believe, at least once a week that came into the lumberyard when it was there?
There were frequent trains coming in and out of the lumberyard.
Okay,
yes.
Trains tend to make noise. Trains also tend to spew a lot of diesel
Correct.
fumes. Okay. And do you know how many trucks were coming in and out of the lumberyard?
The traffic study did have that information, and I believe it was around 30 to 40 a day is what was calculated or counted at the existing lumberyard.
Okay, so for 77 years, there were trucks coming in and out of that property.
Correct.
And I know at one time, that lumberyard used to be a lot busier than it was when it closed, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. There was also some comments made about the necessity of building a police station. Are you aware that the city of Rialto is proposing to build a new police station?
Yes, I am.
And is it in process as we speak?
It is. It is being reviewed by staff.
And is there sufficient public parking being put on that property?
Based on the preliminary drawings I've seen, yes.
Okay. And it's a full police facility, correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you. And my last question, I just want to make sure there's no intention of the city to close Budbinder Park, is there?
I have not heard such thing.
Okay, I don't know of any either. Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Trujillo.
I do have a question. I know I've had a couple of conversations here and there about my concerns with the proximity to the police department. What kind of changes were done to kind of create more security measures as it pertains to the proximity to the police department?
Yeah, thank you for that question. The Rialto Police Department was definitely an integral part during the review of this project, and the applicant did coordinate with them as well during this. So the design of the site has a buffer, essentially a parking field, and that will separate the new building from the police station, as well as landscape planters along the perimeter of the site between the two properties, and then also the perimeter of the building. So there's about a 60 to 70 foot distance. Additionally, at the request of the police department, the applicant will not install any vision glass on the second floor for security purposes. And that's already been incorporated into the construction drawings for the project.
Thank you. Also, there was some talk about kind of the the traffic, how does it compare to the previous kind of use?
So the traffic will still consist of trucks and passenger vehicles, as we saw with the lumberyard use. The traffic study that was prepared for this project analyzes worst case scenario. And so at the worst case scenario, it is expected that the project could potentially generate about 177 more truck trips daily than the lumberyard did. But again, that's at worst case scenario. However, the tenant is not identified. It could potentially be far less than that. We just don't know that at this point. That said, the traffic study analyzed what 177 new trucks would do to the city streets. And in the analysis, there were various improvements that were identified that would maintain all of the street intersections on that route that the trucks will take, that they continue to have an acceptable level of service. And that is what the applicant's fair share fees towards those traffic improvements are going toward, to continue to ensure that the routes for the trucks in and out of the city are maintained at an acceptable level of service.
I saw that there's a number of kind of agreements here for community benefits. Can you kind of just go over really quickly for the community what type of benefits were from this project?
Sure. So the first one that was focused somewhat on in the presentation is the applicant's voluntary contribution of a little over $1.6 million that will be used towards various public safety, public transportation improvements, including the trail segment along the north side that would now be able to occur if this project moves forward and eliminates that rail use. Additionally, the applicant will be installing all new street improvements along their project frontages. This includes new sidewalk, street lights, parkway landscaping, very standard improvements, but along their entire frontage. And then additionally, they'll be contributing their development impact fees, which I believe the estimate was a little over $3 million in development impact fees that will also go towards city services towards this facility. And then there will be ongoing operational revenues received as well in the form of increased property taxes, a business license tax, utility users tax, and then there's also the potential for a sales tax. That's always a potential.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Baca.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Daniel, a couple of questions that I have. First of all, one of my colleagues mentioned that there was trains and trucks that came into the area. When they came into the area, the population of Rialto was not as big as it is today, so therefore we didn't have as much trucking that came in during that period of time. Is that correct?
It's possible. I don't know the exact dates when the train tracks were installed.
So therefore, when you talk about emissions and diesel fuel, it could have been a lot less than what we're anticipating with the amount of trucks that are going to be coming in now. Is that correct?
It could be possible when the facility first opened that there was less train traffic, less vehicle traffic.
And then it was indicated that Riverside Avenue is not a trucking zone. Is that correct?
That's correct. Riverside Avenue is not a truck route.
Did we not just approve not too long ago on Valley a warehouse that would be built in that area? And the only two access to that area would be Riverside Avenue and Cedar. Is that correct?
There was a project approved by the council at along Valley.
And then that means that the only access to that would have to be Cedar. Is that correct? Not Riverside, since Riverside Avenue is not a truck route?
I would probably defer to our engineering department if they're here, but to my knowledge, that segment of Valley
to the freeway. The gentleman over
is a
here,
truck
my
route.
colleague, just asked you a question earlier, and you indicated that it's not a truck route.
Yeah,
So
particularly.
why don't you just say that it's not a truck route?
Sure. I'd like to clarify that for you. So certain segments of Riverside Avenue are designated a truck route. At the 10 freeway and south in the Aguamanza. East of the project site where the downtown is, it is not a truck route.
So therefore, it could be first Riverside Avenue and Cedar. Is that correct?
Not from this project. As conditioned by the Planning Commission, all of
How are they going to get there?
They'll have to use Cedar Avenue. For this particular project,
All right.
Cedar Avenue.
Have you ever,
Yes, I have.
have you seen the traffic congestion on Cedar Avenue?
Yes, I have.
And it's pretty quite heavy, isn't it?
It
Because there
certainly
is
is.
trucking that comes in from both ends, trucking that comes in from the other side of Cedar that comes, now we're asking for additional traffic congestion in the area, is that correct?
There would be additional traffic sent to those intersections from this project.
Okay. And originally, the zoning for this is an M1 with light industrial, is that correct?
That is the zoning of the site, M1.
And so what you're asking us is to change the zoning now, right? Is that correct?
No, there's no zone change request.
None at all?
None at all.
Let me ask you this question then. In reference to the notices that went out to the public, did any of the notices go out in any other language to the people to notify them that this was going to occur in their community?
Yes.
It went out in Spanish?
Correct, yes.
It went out in French?
No.
Did it go out in Asian?
No.
And did we contact any of the residents in the immediate area to let them know that that there was going to be warehouses that were going to be built there at all, Daniel?
Contact was made via notices mailed within the 1,000-foot radius of the project site. Both the Planning Commission hearing notice and the City Council notice for tonight did include Spanish language, English and Spanish language.
Was there any follow-up to that?
After sending the notice, there's no follow-up from staff. There's a one.
So we don't know when someone receives a notice what it's really for when they get it. It's just like anything that comes through. I mean, I get a lot of propaganda and I throw it away and I don't know what it's for unless someone tells me that this is what's going to be happening in the community. And, you know, we should have done that. I know when I was a state legislator, I changed the language where a lot of the Koreans were getting notices and they didn't know what it was. And so I had to make sure that it was done in a Korean language so they would be able to understand, because they were being fined all the time and they didn't know. We have the same responsibility to our residents because we want to do the best thing for our residents and do it for the best thing for the city of Rialto, whatever direction we're going to be going into, whether it's to build. And I'm not against warehouses. I think warehouses has its place, and we should have them in certain places and certain locations. And I'm glad that some of these projects that we have community benefits and that we're using labor agreement, and I'm glad that labor is included. I hope that they're always included on any kind of warehouse that we build in the city of Rialto or in any other areas that is built, that we do utilize labor for those. But there's a place. Is this now the possibility of the third warehouse that will impact city parks?
I'm not sure of the other warehouses you might be referring to.
Well, I mean, come on, Daniel, you're here. We
Councilmember.
just approved Pepper off-ramp, isn't that right?
Councilmember, could we stay focused on the project?
Well, this is part of the project.
I guess I'm just trying to say that germane to this particular project, because it sounds like you're talking about all the other projects that have.
This will be the third one that will be near a park, and I'm
Okay,
talking about
I understand.
the impact it would have on a park.
Yeah.
We already have two other ones that will be impacted, and that's Frisbee Park, we have Jerry East Park, and now we have Bud Bender Park that is nearby. Not to mention the residents in that area that will be impacted, and not to mention the traffic congestion, the effects it'll have in terms of asthma, illness, allergy, bronchitis, diabetes, asthma, and other studies have indicated the effects of the traffic congestion that will be in the area. I'm very much concerned also because I'm looking at the city of Rialto in reference to any warehouse that we built, because near warehouses are potholes created
near those warehouses?
I think anywhere that vehicles and trucks have the potential to create potholes.
Okay.
And can I say for the record, the motion and the second with resolution, can you read your resolution?
8155.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Wow, on to tab 2, please.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. The item before you is requesting to increase the purchase order issued to Harrison Associates in the amount of $198,598 for the development of Rialto Stormwater Asset Inventory. On February 14, 2023, the City Council approved the purchase order in the amount of $254,251 to start the development of Rialto Stormwater Asset Inventory. The initial proposal was based on as-built that had anticipated 800 existing structures. During the inventory, over 900 unrecorded structures were discovered, resulting in the scope needing to expand to over 1,700 existing structures. The inventory, once completed, will provide a solid foundation for informed decisions.
Art, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'd like to move the item.
I'm sorry?
Second.
I'm sorry.
Oh, good, thank you.
Any objections? If not, the
He
motion,
seconded
he's docketed it. Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you.
And tab number 3.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and Rialto community. In April of 2018, City approved a marketing license agreement with Service Line Warranties of America to provide warranty protection and repair programs to help homeowners in the city of Rialto with their in-home plumbing for water and
I'd
sewer.
like to move the item.
Second.
Now, but let's move it and then you can ask your question. Go ahead.
No, I have a question. Is there like a certain rating that I guess it's like is there a rating that they have that assures that if there's a claim that the customers receive?
So yes, I mean they have done surveys on after they've done repairs and services, and they have a very high rating of out of 5 that the customers have provided them for the responsiveness on their repairs.
I'm one of those.
Okay.
And Mayor, if I may.
Very high positive rating and responsiveness.
The request is for 2 options. There's an option A and an option B.
Okay.
So, and I'll just briefly state it. Option A is that Service Line Warranty would provide the city with a $10,000 fee per year for the services in the city. The option B would be to waive that fee and then give a reduction to the policy holders of 75 cents per month, per policy per month. So we want to know which option that the city would prefer, either to take some money and invest it into the water and wastewater fund, or give it back to the city customers.
It's only $10,000, and it's really off of the actual user. So
That is correct.
I'm more for Plan B in particular.
Okay.
But you're the motion holder.
Madam Mayor, may I comment?
You have a comment.
I also would prefer option B. I don't think that the $10,000 should be on the backs of those who voluntarily pay for this insurance policy. So even though it's only 75 cents, 75 cents is 75 cents. So I too would be in favor of option B.
Okay. And I will amend the motion if you need to have
Yes, we just
A
need to
or
have
B.
a
I
selection.
personally, I'm one who participates. I think the service is well, and it was a point that I think to tell the story that our insurance commissioner said basically it could not be getting something which was going back into, and we determined back into our water system or services, but it was not everybody participating. So if there is a way to redistribute the money back to those that choose to participate, I'm in favor of that.
Yeah, we do that by just reducing the monthly charge. Or Service Line Warranty would do that as part of that, and that's what
we're not handling it; they are handling.
Right.
Okay, so is that good with you? Who was the second on the motion? Okay. You're okay with that? Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
No opposition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So the motion is for B.
For B, yes. All right, so now before we go any further, I want to ask Ms. Alvarado if she'd like to come up. She's always kind enough to give us what's happening in the next 2 weeks. The scoop, give us the scoop.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. Here's what's going on in Rialto. Rialto Community Players got their show going on at the Sandra Courtney Theater. Blythe Spirit is their showing for the next couple of weekends. The Floating Pumpkin Patch will be on Saturday, October 21st at the Tom Sawyer Pool from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Girls Fire Camp will also be on Saturday, October 21st and October 22nd. Our senior Halloween dance will be held at the Grace Vargas Senior Center on Thursday, October 26th. Halloween hijinks will be Tuesday, October 31st here at Rialto Civic Center. Here are your save the dates. Our Rialto Heritage Day will be Saturday, November 18th at the Civic Center. And then our Rialto Holiday Festival and Parade will be Saturday, December 2nd at the Civic Center. And I was just informed earlier today that Run Around the Rocks has changed their date to Sunday, December 3rd. So save the dates.
That's it. Good. Well, thank you. Thank you for the information and the updates. Now, anyone who has, let's see, to make sure that, Councilmember Trujillo, would you like to go first on reports?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. I was with Mayor Pro Tem Carrizales at the Hispanic Heritage Month event at the Viva la Fiesta at Jerry Eves Park. So that was really interesting. And then also was there with our Councilmember Ed Scott and our Mayor Pro Tem Carrizales at the MAD walk that we had at Sampson Park. And I just wanted to say it's nice to see our community come together. Such an important topic of, combating and remembering those that are lost from drunk driving. So I think it's a really important issue, and they had the Carter High School cheerleaders there, and it's nice to hear from some of the families. Well, it's important to hear some of those stories because I think, it just reminds us how important some of these issues are in terms of trying to combat drunk driving. And so a lot of our community came out on this very important topic. And as you see, I'm sure Councilmember Scott can give you more details about how much was raised. So it's just really nice to be there and be part of the event. So there's some more images there. And then one other event that I attended that was really important also, again, memorializing survivors and those who were murdered and missing of Indigenous women. That's for Indigenous Peoples Day at Cal State San Bernardino. Students were creating kind of like the red handprint on popsicle sticks, and they're putting them on their one of the areas out there on the lawn. And I just was invited. I attended, and it was just really nice to see the Women's Center and the First People Center coming together on a very important statement of making, which is basically they're trying to find justice and they're trying to find healing for the missing and murdered Indigenous women that are out there. So it's a really important topic that came out on Indigenous Peoples Day at Cal State San Bernardino. Just wanted to thank all the students for their contributions for that event. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to, we just had Indigenous Peoples Day yesterday, and so that was one of the events that were kind of in our area that I attended. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Scott?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We had a great turnout at the Mad Walk, but I want to personally thank Barbara McGee, the city clerk's office, for all her hard work. Rialto Police Department, those that showed up. The Rialto Fire Department, you guys are always number one. And, oh, there they are. I believe fire won the relay. Do you know Captain Vega? I didn't think so. And there's Public Works. They were out there, and of course they give us a lot of assistance. And my thanks to the MAD staff for their help. Rialto raised for MAD $53,724. That's the that is the largest amount we've raised in the 8 years we've been doing the walk. So it was a great event, a good turnout. And Madam Mayor, you'd be proud to know, I hope, that we beat the city of Long Beach and
In raising?
in raising money. And on Saturday, we had beat the city of San Diego, but some sandbaggers came in at the last minute and
Dropped some money on you?
dropped a bunch of money in there. I was just wondering if you were down in San Diego. by
No,
chance.
no. I gave my check to the clerk. 'Cause I had a
And thank you,
conflict.
Madam Mayor, for your
And
check.
I put my note that
But
it was in memory, it was in memory of Eddie. Okay.
And thank you very much. And I know you had another event to be at that day, so.
5.
We carried on and we did it in your name, but my fellow council members were all there.
No, it didn't. Not at all.
And we look forward to seeing you wear your blue shirt.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Thank you.
The
And-
other 5 events didn't include her sweating, so she chose those.
Hey. And
Anyway.
that- it was warm out there. And in closing, I would like to ask all of us in this community to pray for the people of Israel. And I hope we as Americans realize how lucky we are that war never comes to our country, at least not at this point. If you've been watching the news and the horrific stuff that's going on in Israel, it's a very sad thing for any people. So I would ask all of us to say a prayer for the state of Israel.
Okay. Now, Councilmember Baca, would you like to?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I also attended the MAD walk, and also San Bernardino County Supervisor Joe Baca Jr. was in attendance. It was a great event, many participants. I want to thank all the participants who participated. I want to thank all the sponsors that participated in this particular event. And of course, once again, our champions that are always there for most of our events that we've had here in the city of Rialto, and that includes the police department and the fire department. I want to thank them for continuing to be involved in our community activities. It shows that they care very much about what's going on and about the safety of our community. So again, thank them for their leadership and their involvement in each and one of the activities. And that's all I have to report now.
Great.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, yeah, I think most of it has been said already about our 2 events. The Viva la Fiesta is always a great event, and I really appreciate the fact that we are keeping with the or at least enhancing and showing our community that we care about the roots of the Latino and Latin American culture by displaying the bailables and displaying all the Spanish music and all the great dances that come with that heritage. So I'm glad that we here in the city of Rialto are keeping that alive. And also did the MAD walk. Again, police, fire, thank you guys for being out there. I guess that's me running it. That was probably the only time I ran. And there goes little Andrew, who was, I think Andrew did run a lot more than all of us, including, but I do have to hand it to Councilmember Scott. This is the first time I see him do more than 1 lap, so he actually probably did.
Maybe that's because you were sitting down under the canopy.
I sat for a while, but anyhow, it was a great event. But I think more importantly, the message I would like to send out to our youth and to our community is the awareness that, especially in these days when you can literally pick up your phone and dial up an Uber, you can pick up your phone and dial up a friend, and there's absolutely no reason for a drugged or impaired driver to be out in the street. So I appreciate all the youth that was out there, and I know there was some talk by District Attorney Anderson that directed to the high school class that was out there, and just really focused on the fact that there should be absolutely no reason for a kid or even an adult to get in the wheel and drive impaired or drugged. So I want to make sure that as much money gets raised, this is all for the victims. I want to make sure that the message is out there that this event is to promote awareness and to let youth and anybody that's out there that thinks that they can get on the streets and drive impaired, that, you know what, you have a friend out there, you have a parent, you have a best friend that can pick you up. And if you don't have that, there's always Uber, there's always a taxi, there's always somebody that can pick you up. And I will extend the message out to any of my colleagues, any of my friends, my kids, my daughters. If there's ever a time that you can't drive and for some reason you don't have any money for the Uber, or for some reason you don't have any other transportation, call me if you have my phone number. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I won't say unfortunately, but I did miss the MAD walk because, yes, I did have a prior request and engagement that I had committed to over in Moreno Valley. I was asked to participate with the inaugural symposium that was being held by Assemblymember Dr. Corey Jackson, who most of you know. Corey was raised here in our community, and now he's the Assemblymember in Riverside. So that was one of the 4 events. MAD would have been one of the 5. But I think rather than capturing things that I did, I was gone out of the area this past week in Atlanta for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, launching an inaugural P3 Business Council. And that's business for the city and business for the role of us. But I would ask today to echo what Councilmember Baca asked for a moment of silence in the beginning, and then Councilmember Scott has also said to really, give our thoughts and our prayers and what I said earlier about living in the land of laws. We live in this country because it is with laws. If we didn't want to be in a place where there was no laws, then we could move to a place where there's anarchy, and I'd like to know how that's going to work for you. I would ask that tonight I would like to close this meeting in memory of, or for Mrs. Veretta Elmore. Some of you may or may not know her. We call her V, but she also happens to be one of our teachers that teaches in our community program on the jewelry and how to do jewelry and make jewelry. Her son passed, I think, on Thursday night, Thursday or Friday, and it was unexpected. Clearly had an aneurysm and a young son. So I'd like to ask we close in memory of her son, Veretta Elmore. And then I would ask you guys, being real close to home right now, that you'd keep my grandson in your prayers. He's in Kuwait, and I heard that this morning his wife wrote and said that they was packing their bags, and that he probably will be deployed over into Israel. He thought he was going towards Egypt, but given what has happened, so I'm kind of like, just holding breath, hoping that whatever we do, and that he'll stay out of harm's way. So With that, anybody else have anything to say? And that's my grandson is Jeff Smith. So that's it. Yes, every Wednesday. Anything else? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Trujillo and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carazellis. No objections. We're adjourned. Thank you.